What up, guys? Today I have my homie Calvin. He is a life coach, and I think he can definitely help you guys answer this question: am I good enough to go into pharmacy school? And even though Calvin is not a pharmacist, he is a black belt at life, dude. And yeah. A lot of the time it's scary because maybe you don't have all the grades that you have. You don't have all the grades, you know, or you just feel like you're not good enough or you're gonna fail. And so, for y'all that don't know, Calvin is actually a rapper. He's been rapping since he was a teenager. And even though it might seem a little unrelated, as we were talking earlier, there's so much that I learned through his story of rapping and stuff. And so let me ask you this, like, what are some of the lessons that you learned from rap, and how can this help people make a better decision pharmacy?
About pharmacy school?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in reverse order.
Okay.
Can I answer your question real quickly?
Yeah.
Just to like make it relevant for you guys, right? And make sure I'm kind of answering at the same time. I don't know that. Okay, so there's a question out there, like, am I good enough for pharmacy school or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I guess you could answer that question according to grades, blah blah. But let's say that you're reasonably within range to get into pharmacy school. Yeah. Right? Because if you're not reasonably within range, I don't see why you'd ask that question anyway. True. So let's say you're reasonably within range. I'd say fuck that question, right? Like, am I good enough for pharmacy school? It's like, because I feel like the question is, like, do you want to go into pharmacy school? Like, is that a path that you see yourself going down, at least for like the foreseeable future? We don't know what life is going to be like in like 2057, right? But like for now, is that the path that you want to go down? True. Right? So if that's the path that you want to go down, I don't know about asking, am I good enough? Just because it's such a binary question, it's yes or no. Yeah. And it doesn't really tell you what to do from there, right? Yeah. I'd want to ask the question, like, how do you become a bomb-ass pharmacist? How do you become like a kick-ass like pharmacy student? Like, that's the question to ask right there. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, asking a question like, am I good enough to go into pharmacy school? It doesn't do anyone good. Like, and at the end of the day, it's not in your control. Yeah. Admissions determine whether you go into pharmacy school or not. So you should really ask yourself, how do I become a bomb ass pharmacy student? Or what do I really want to be when I actually become a pharmacist? How do I want to change people's lives, man? Yeah. And having that sense of purpose, you know? Yeah, because that's actionable, right? Like, in the end, you ask this question, and like that answer is going to determine like your future. Yeah. I mean, I could if you let it, but then like, if you want to be the one that like determines the trajectory of your life, you'd want to ask less of an analyzing question and more of a strategizing one. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, but sometimes people still have that fear, you know? Yeah. They might know up here, but down in here, they're fucking scared about not being able to pull through. Will I be able to make it? Will I not be able to make it? Yeah. Right. So, all right. So let's come back to talking about rap. Right. Dude, like, I just wanted to be a rapper in like 8th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. I grew up in kind of like a tough hood, right? And my dad was like a tough dad, and I just kind of like had all this anger inside, and I felt like it needed to come out, and like hip hop just seemed like an angry enough music style for me to like have that come out. So I just decided that I'm a rapper, right? And I sucked in the beginning. And it almost didn't matter, just because I was like, that's what I want to be. You know, like, I'm a Chinese kid living in like a bad neighborhood. My parents don't speak a full set of English. Like, what do I want for myself? Like, of course I'm a suck, right? Like, you've never been a pharmacy student before, you've never been a pharmacist before. Of course you're gonna suck at it at first. Yeah. Right? But it's kind of like, I just decided that that's what I was gonna be, and that's what I was gonna work toward. Yeah. So it almost kind of didn't matter that I sucked. Like, that was kind of like obvious. Yeah. But I could get better at it. Like, there was like a purpose in it for me. And I could get better at it. And that was kind of the promise. Yeah. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about one of the first videos I talked about. And it's where I bombed all these classes. I just fucking sucked. I failed, man. And
you're totally right. School conditions us to sort of like, oh, don't fail and stuff, but you're gonna have times where you totally suck. Or maybe if you're practicing pharmacy, you're just gonna have days where you're just totally off. Like people might be yelling at you. Yep. You might not be on your A game, right? But it's okay. But there's that thing about getting better. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Getting better. That's really motivating, and it pushes me at least, you know?
Yeah. You know, like I don't know when I decided this, but at some point I just decided that every problem I run into or every challenge I run into, dude, if it's gonna bother me, it's gonna benefit me somehow. Like somehow this challenge is gonna make me better. So when I first started like writing raps or whatever, I'd share it online and people were like, oh my God, that sucks. Like this metaphor that you use, like there was this line that I this is like, don't judge me. This is like really early on when I started rapping, but like, I was like, like when I visit the hurt on you, it's instant like ramen noodles or something. Right? Like if you're like, dude, like that was so whack. I was like, really? Like I thought that was pretty creative, right? But it caused me to kind of like look at like, well, what was whack about that? And like I kind of had to ask some people like, well, what was whack about that? And like, but I kind of learned from it over time. Yeah. So it's like the problems make me better, and the failures, I don't think the failures necessarily make you better, but it's a choice and it's a decision. Yeah. Right? So it's kind of like if you decide that, you know what, I'm just going to get better no matter what, then the victories, you can learn from that to like, how do I do that again? How do I replicate that, right? And the failures, you can say, oh, like, what worked about that? So I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But you can also say, well, what didn't work about that? What can I anticipate better next time? Or can I flip this? Or you can learn from that. Yeah. And it's like, if you learn from your victories and you learn from your failures and you learn from other people's victories and failures, it's just a matter of time before you become a black belt. Yeah. Right. But
sometimes, let me ask you this. How do you get over that fear of getting feedback? Maybe feedback that you do suck, because some people, it's kind of hard. Like, when people tell you suck, right? How do you deal with that internally, I guess? Yeah. I'm sure there's many ways. This is just how did you do it for like hip hop? Did you ever have that problem or anything like that?
So I'm kind of an insolent bastard. Like what? I'm an insolent bastard. Like I'm my dad used to like yell at me and be like, "You're a bad kid" or whatever. And be like, "Fuck that! You think I'm a bad kid? I'm gonna show you bad kid." Like inside, right? Yeah. Or like there's a lot of like, I'll show you wrong. I'll prove you wrong, or like fuck that, like inside of me. Yeah. So then like when people would say that you suck, like I would come from this place of like, all right, you want a challenge? Like what do you want? Like, so it's like it kind of like pushed me to do better. I don't think that's necessarily the place to just come from all across the different spectrums of life. Yeah. Right. But I think that's definitely like one place that you can come from. I think maybe like a healthier like a healthier place maybe to come from that would probably ruin less relationships. Yeah. You say that so casually, like ruin less relationships. Well, because when I have come from there, like it like it was good for me, but it wasn't necessarily good for some relationships. Yeah, when you you say that, I think like world star hip hop. Yeah. Yeah. Straight up fights breaking. Is to realize that like, when people say that, not everyone's like an emotionally intelligent dude where they can say like, oh, you know what? It was your behavior. Not everyone's going to be able to give you really good feedback. Yeah. That is like precise, but like emotionally generous, right? Yeah. It's kind of up to you to kind of like take the feedback and decide, is this going to make me bitter or better? So like it's just like always just choose better, number one, right? Yeah. And then number two, then kind of like understand that whatever this person is saying, they're saying it for some reason. Usually it's for their own reasons, but they see something, right? Yeah. So it's like, all right, whatever part about that pissed me off, I'm going to use it to make me better, not bitter. But also then B is kind of like, it doesn't mean anything about you. It means something about your performance, something about your behavior. Yeah. And as you're talking, I'm just thinking about like, dude, showing yourself that unconditional love no matter what happens. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting from you right now, Yeah. Like it's like if you can kind of take that feedback and not let that mean something about you, but let that mean something about just the way that you're playing. you can't change you. I mean, I guess you probably could, but like, I don't think the point is necessarily about changing you and who you are in this like philosophical, soulful core of you. Like, you are just you, right? Yeah. But then like, if you can like focus on the way that you're changing the way that you play the game and just kind of purely make it about that, like you can really evolve yourself as a player or the way that you're playing the game.
Yeah.
You know, but like, you got to make it, you're either making it about you or you're making it about the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So, all right. So we understand that we're going to suck. That's part of mastery, right?
Yeah.
So when you're in the trenches of suck, maybe you're in pharmacy school, you're getting really shitty grades, or maybe you're a pharmacist and your DM, your supervisor's yelling at you for your performance, right?
Right.
How do you deal with the trenches of the suck?
You know, so I guess my sense of it is that it all revolves around the learning, right? Let me say this first. Like, usually when we say you suck or you don't suck, we're looking at the results.
Yeah.
Right? Here's the standard. You're either here, or like down here. And like anything below here is like suck, right?
Yeah.
So we're just looking at the results. Suck is all this right here. The results are a byproduct. The results are a byproduct of what? Like, the results are a byproduct of your level of experience and the way that you play the game or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. A black belt will always get better results than a red belt, will always get better results than an orange belt or yellow belt or a white belt, for example.
Okay.
You know, so it's like, it's not like forget about the results. You want to play for the results, but like, you're going to get the best results that you're going to get. And sometimes those best results are just going to suck.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you're gonna like want to get black belt level results, but then you're just an orange belt. What can you do? So like, the best thing that you can do is kind of like, not to say you don't care about the results, like hella care about them, right?
Yeah.
But understand that getting the results is about you. You can only get the best results that you can. So if you're an orange belt, be the best orange belt that you can be. And then you suddenly become a blue belt really quickly because you're being the best orange belt that you can be. Right? So it's like, if someone's yelling at you, you're not getting the results, you're just like, hey, you know, like, I'm trying, what can I learn right here? And you just worry about leveling up. Yeah. Understanding that the results kind of just come from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, from there, it's like, maybe you don't depend on me to get black belt results then, if I'm really just an orange belt, but I am doing everything that I can right now to go from orange belt to blue belt to like whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's focusing on that growth and not like focusing less on the results, but holding yourself more accountable to the, I don't know about more accountable, but like holding yourself accountable to the growth as much as you're accountable to the results. And like, eventually you're going to get the results.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but I guess what I'm trying to ask is
sorry.
No, it's cool. What I'm trying to ask is like, okay, we taking everything that you're saying, how do we go about getting better? That's a real question I'm asking. Because like, okay, we know that it comes with time, right? Because spitting like one-liners to bars, right? How do you go about getting better quicker, you know? Yeah,
there's so many ways on how you can get better quicker, so I'm just gonna like throw ideas out there. Right. One thing is, you know, like
well, let me start with this.
Cool.
Like, what helped you during your process?
One thing was like a level of just like obsession. Like, the first thing was the decision that I'm gonna get better at this. Yeah. But like, the second thing was just like a level of obsession. Like, I just, you know, like when I was doing Taekwondo, like I could close my eyes and I could see sparring happening. Yeah. I'm just constantly playing the game. If not physically, I'm playing the game in my mind. And while I'm playing, like while I'm rapping, I'm not just kind of like practicing. I'm specifically focusing on what is that one skill that I want to get better at right here. Oh, I want to develop more multi-syllabic rhymes. Yeah. You know, like I want to better my sense of like rhythm. You know, so like I'm just working on like this one sub skill inside like the whole game for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month or whatever, before I move on to like the next sub skill, for example, right? And I'm always kind of like it, you know, like after the practice or whatever, or after like the playing the game, I'm always looking back like, you know what really worked about today, right? because it's very easy to like, oh man, that didn't work, that sucked.
Yeah.
Right. But like, I want to look at, hey, what worked, so that this way I can see what I'm getting good at. I can see the progress that I'm making. That's always motivating.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like, oh, I can see like I'm consistently doing these things well right here. I can trust that part. And when you can learn to trust what you're doing well at, you become more masterful, because it's like with sparring, right? Like the lower belts are kind of like jittery. They're like, oh man, I don't want to get hit. And they're kind of like, they're all jittery. But like someone that's masterful is like relaxed.
Yeah.
They can kind of trust, right? But then I also want to look at like, well, and what didn't work so well, and like how would I improve on those things, so that I'm not just looking at like what sucked. I'm looking at, so how would I do that differently next time, right? And from there, I would visualize doing it differently, or I would start to say, okay, well, if that's how I want to do it better, who's doing that well right now, so that I can kind of like observe them and then kind of see me doing it like them, for example.
Yeah.
You know, when I was rapping also, when I was rapping and also when I was like in Taekwondo, I found people that were really good, and I kind of challenged myself to like hang around with them. And like they really challenged me to be better, and they gave me feedback also.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically, to simplify what you're saying is that you basically tested a lot of different things, but it wasn't that you're just testing random shit. Maybe it was sometimes, but you took existing frameworks, like people that were already doing very well, seeing what they did and applying it to yourself and testing it to see if it works for yourself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the way you said that, like testing to see how it works for me, because everyone's just got like everyone's got different assets.
Yeah.
Everyone's got like a different sort of natural style. So like the way that, you know, the way that some rappers like spit their rhymes, it sounded cool from them, but for me, it just didn't really work for my style, right?
Yeah.
But like eventually you kind of like, you learn different styles so that you come up with your own in the end that kind of like works for your kind of personality type, your kind of like your body type or whatever, talking about sparring and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's constantly like learning, how do I improve this? How do I improve this? How do I improve this? What's already working? Do I want to make this more enjoyable? Do I want to do this with a little more style? Like there's this, you're just kind of iterating the whole time.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of funny as you're talking about this. I'm thinking about like a really flexible fighter like BJ Penn. And then I think about a Brock Lesnar who is like hella. The same thing is not going to work for both of them. So it's really important to really, like you said, like see what works for you. Yeah. You know? Yeah. But I guess like trying to relate this back to pharmacy, because I am a pharmacy channel, right?
That's good. It's good.
I think it's really important to, you know, if you work retail pharmacy, or if you work, like if you want to become the best resident, dude, seek out those people, email those people, take action, surround yourself around those people, and take a look at what they do and try to take those action steps, man. Yeah. I think that's so important. And I think the number one thing that Calvin is really emphasizing and hitting home to me, that it's okay to suck, and you will suck, you know? And just show yourself that unconditional love. And if you don't, shit, I'm gonna hug you, man. I always say it, I'm gonna hug you, fool shit, you know? So yeah. Calvin, did you want to say anything else before we close?
Dude, yeah, like it's like you're gonna suck. That's okay. Just find ways of getting better. Just find ways of getting better, and like find a way to like enjoy the process of getting. I feel like if you're playing the game to get better, it's very enjoyable from there. You kind of take the pressure off. You know what I mean? Yeah. And
I think the number one important thing too is focus on mastery, man.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. Because we sometimes just play all these like mini games and stuff, but at the end of the day, we're working on our life craft. And for a lot of us, it might be pharmacy. It might be different fields. It might be martial arts, right? It might be rapping, man. But, you know, focusing on mastery and seeing the long-term game of stuff really helps when you're in the trenches of the suck, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, if you guys want to follow Calvin, I'll put his information below. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Like my video, subscribe, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Later.